Coming up today, Bipsy Theater is about to kick off their new season of plays. The Supreme Court looks at a Louisiana law.
Early voting wraps up in Shreveport, and the possible impeachment case against the president just got a second whistleblower.
Plus, Abby Colvin has a look at your weather forecast as we get ready to kick off a new week.
And James Farrar with the new sports update. The Bipsy News starts now.
From the studios at Bossier Parish Community College, this is Bipsy News.
Welcome to the Bipsy News for Monday, October 6th. I'm Jilian Rogers.
And I'm Shaquille Jefferson. Jillian, let's start off with a look at anything going on around campus.
The Gay Straight Alliance at Bipsy holds regular weekly meetings on Mondays and Wednesdays at 1 p.m. in Building F, Room 220. The GSA fosters support awareness and inclusiveness in a student-led environment, and meetings are open to all students who wish to attend.
The Bipsy Theater program and the Cavalier Players open their 2019 season with Urinetown. The musical opens Thursday, October 10th in Building C at 7:30 p.m. Performances are set for 7:30 p.m. on October 11th, 12th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 2 p.m. on October 13th and 20th. Urinetown has been nominated for 10 Tony Awards and won 3 of them. It's set in a futuristic town in the 20-year drought that has led to government enforcement ban on public toilets. If the poor don't obey the laws against free urination, they get sent to the mysterious Urinetown. Believe it or not, this show is really a comedy, so come prepared to laugh, and we hope to see you there beginning Thursday.
Bipsy field reporter Caleb Lemon was out around campus last week testing students' knowledge of photos of some familiar everyday items. Let's see how they did.
Hi, I'm Caleb Lemon with Bipsy News, and here with me I have
Rebecca.
So we're going to show Rebecca a few pictures, and she's going to tell us what she thinks they are. So what do you think this is, Rebecca?
Cauliflower.
Sticks.
So this is actually a paintbrush.
Oh.
Yeah. What about this one?
Ropes.
Crust.
An apple, like a crusted apple.
This one was a cantaloupe, the outside of one. What do you think this might be?
A vegetable.
Lettuce.
These were soap bubbles. And what about this?
Soda. Ink drops.
Sand.
This is coffee. What about this?
I don't know. Something spongy, maybe a sponge.
Definitely looks like it's cut open. I could go with a sponge.
This one would be chocolate. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed, and let's send you back to the news desk.
Teddy bears have long been known to provide comfort to children, but they can provide just as much for adults, which is why every year the second Wednesday in October is National Bring Your Teddy Bear to Work or School Day. In honor of the day, students will have the opportunity to create their own teddy bear this Wednesday, October 9th, in Building F from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. After the break, Abby Colvin will have a look at the current forecast for the week.
And later, the Supreme Court is set to take up a Louisiana abortion law that could have a long-standing impact for a woman's right to choose.
I'm Abby Colvin with Bipsy Weather, and we'll be back after the break.
For years, hackers have used pirated content as a lure to expose consumers to malware. Rogue entertainment boxes used to illegally access pirated movies and TV shows can put you at risk, but you can protect yourself. Criminals use trickery to enter into consumers' homes, explained Tom Galvin, Executive Director of the Digital Citizens Alliance, DCA. The enticement of free movies and television shows on products without a reputable company behind them, he added, creates a fertile ground for malware to spread. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. DCA investigated these devices and found malware on them that stole usernames and passwords, probed user networks, and uploaded user data without consent. Most consumers are unaware of the security risks of plugging one of these devices into a home network. For your cyber safety, keep an eye on the devices that are brought into your home, including by your children. The lure of free pirated content can be tempting, but there is a price.
In late August, Hurricane Harvey made landfall along the Texas coast. In early September, Hurricane Irma hit the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and Florida. Before Harvey and Irma even landed, preparations were underway to save homes, businesses, and lives. The American Red Cross was there. Throughout our response to both of these major hurricanes, we have provided nearly 1 million overnight stays in more than 900 shelters across Texas and Florida. Our work continues today and will for months to come, and the American people have been unfailingly generous. Thousands of volunteers have left their homes and families to provide 24/7 support to those in need, providing food, water, comfort, and hope. Our partners have stepped up to support our work again and again. To this, we say thank you. Those affected will recover and rebuild. And to that we say, the American Red Cross stands with you. As long as it takes, we will be there.
Bless you guys.
At least one thing in your life is easy to control. Fujitsu offers a full line of energy-efficient ductless heating and cooling systems that lets you control the individual temperature in each room, no matter what's going on. And our new Wi-Fi enabled systems allow you to control it from anywhere. This means customized comfort and energy savings, where and when you want it, at your control. Fujitsu. Infinite comfort. To learn more, visit fujitsugeneral.com.
I'm Abby Covell in Bipsy Weather. Let's take a look at the current temperatures. In Marshall at 74, in Nacogdoches at 71, in Texarkana at 73, in Ruston at 70, in Minden at 72, and in Natchitoches at 73. Now let's head over to Bipsy. There's a thunderstorm here with 74 degrees. The humidity is 74%, the dew point is 71 degrees, and the wind's coming at south-southeast at 6 miles per hour, and the sun sets at 6:55 p.m. Now let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Tuesday, there's a high of 79 and a low of 59. Wednesday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a 5% chance of rain with a high of 83 and a low of 65. Thursday, there's a 5% chance of rain with a high of 89 and a low of 71. Friday, there's going to be a thunderstorm with a 50% chance of rain with a high of 78 and a low of 50. And Saturday, there's a 35% chance of rain with scattered rain with a high of 66 and a low of 46. This is Abby Colvin. Let's take it back to the news desk.
The Supreme Court was hearing an abortion case regarding a Louisiana law. Justices will consider a law that requires any doctor performing an abortion in Louisiana must also have admitting rights at a nearby hospital. It's nearly identical to a Texas law that was struck down in 2016. This is the first abortion case that will be argued since Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch joined the bench. Their appointments solidify a conservative majority on the court, and this could be the first step in the court revisiting Roe v. Wade at a later time. The court will likely hear oral arguments early next year. The case is one of a number of high-profile cases on the court's agenda this term. Others include gun rights, LGBTQ rights, and the legality of Obamacare. The court returned from break and was back in session this morning.
Caddo Parish citizens came out in big numbers during last week's early voting period that ended at 6 p.m. Sunday. According to the Secretary of State, 8,000 people have already voted, and the Caddo Parish Chief Deputy of Register of Voters say that they may even pass that number. The election is scheduled for this coming Saturday, October 12th, so be sure to make sure you're registered and know where your polling place is located.
October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Every year, thousands of women and men are diagnosed with breast cancer. And this month, doctors, patients, and advocates are working to make sure we spread the word on how to prevent, screen, and treat it. In today's Health Minute, Meredith Wood brings us some quick facts on this deadly disease.
Breast cancer. It's the second most common cancer among women in the United States and the second leading cause of cancer deaths among women overall. Each year, about 245,000 new cases are diagnosed in women in the U.S. and 2,200 cases are found in men. While the 5-year survival rate is almost 90%, approximately 41,000 women and nearly 500 men will die from it each year. Breast cancer is a disease where the cells in the breast grow out of control. While it can start in different areas of the breast, it can also metastasize and spread to other parts of the body. The two most common types of breast cancer are invasive ductal carcinoma. Here, the cancer cells grow outside of the ducts into other parts of the breast. Invasive lobular carcinoma describes cancer cells that spread from the lobules to breast tissue close by. While some people may experience symptoms, many will not. That is why experts agree regular breast cancer screenings and early diagnosis are essential. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
Still to come, Bernie Sanders returned home over the weekend.
But first, James Farrar with a new sports update.
I'll get y'all caught up on the biggest storylines coming out of Week 5 in the NFL. Don't go anywhere because Sports Update's coming up after the break.
Treating your asbestos disease means spending lots of time with doctors. Understand what they're saying with the free pocket-sized asbestos disease glossary that explains all the medical terms and the roles of the mesothelioma and lung cancer specialists involved in your care. Also, learn how to best pay for your significant medical expenses. Call Asbestos Lifeline today at 800-990-1650 or visit asbestoslifeline.com.
Here are some simple steps for a more restful sleep. Try to keep a regular sleep schedule so your body's internal clock is set to sleep through the night. Give yourself enough time to settle down and relax prior to bedtime so it's easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. Avoid caffeine and excess liquids in the evenings. Get plenty of exercise during the day so you feel tired at night.
When you're moving to a new home, 4 hints can help make the move smoother. First, get at least 3 free written in-home estimates from moving companies. Next, read your paperwork carefully. Once you've signed a contract, you've agreed to what it says about your move. Remember, communication is key. Make sure the mover has your cell phone number and you have the driver's name and truck number. Finally, consider a certified pro mover who meets the American Moving and Storage Association's high standards. Learn more at moving.org.
Clinical trials are at the heart of advances in health and medicine. You as a volunteer in a clinical trial can play an important part in advancing human health for yourself and others. Clinical trials rely on volunteers with a certain disease or medical condition, and some studies need healthy people. Guidelines and a review board are in place to make sure studies are safe. Talk to your healthcare provider. I hope you'll consider joining a clinical trial. Visit clinicaltrials.gov.
Welcome back. I'm James Farrar with today's Sports Update. We're 5 weeks into the NFL season already, which means there's enough of a sample size to start separating the contenders from the pretenders, the disappointments and surprises, and in one team's case, an especially early season coaching change. The week's most anticipated game this time was Aaron Rodgers and the Packers traveling to Big D to take on the Cowboys. Both teams were coming in 3-1 and coming off a loss, but early on it was the Packers who looked like they came ready to play. They jumped out to an early 17-0 halftime lead and were up 31-3 midway through the third. Dallas fought back to get within 10, but that was all they could do, losing 34-24 to fall to 3-2. For the Packers, it was the ground game that carried the offense. Running back Aaron Jones, a Texas native, went off for 183 yards from scrimmage and 4 touchdowns. For Dallas, the offense was shaky for a second week in a row. Quarterback Dak Prescott did have 463 yards, a career high, but he also matched a career high with 3 interceptions. Newly paid running back Ezekiel Elliott was held to under 70 yards for the second week in a row, averaging 48 yards on 15 carries in the back-to-back losses. Elsewhere around the league, the Saints continued to roll, moving to 4-1 overall and 3-0 since losing future Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees. They defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-24. Backup Teddy Bridgewater had 314 yards and 4 touchdowns in the game. The defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots are one of the only 2 remaining undefeated teams left after they beat the Washington Redskins 33-7. Tom Brady passed Brett Favre and moved into 3rd on the all-time career passing yards record. The loss dropped Washington to 0-5, and this morning, Jay Gruden became the first head coach to get fired this season. In addition to the poor start, Gruden was heavily criticized last week when he put rookie QB and future face of the franchise Dwayne Haskins into a bad situation with under 2 minutes left in the first half and the team down by 17. Haskins looked unprepared and overwhelmed, which is what the team had been trying to avoid with their patient approach. And finally, a scary moment in Pittsburgh when Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph was sandwiched between two defenders and took a hit from safety Earl Thomas in the team's 26-23 loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Rudolph was motionless on the ground after the hit, and it was later confirmed he was knocked unconscious. QB was taken to an area hospital and later released, but he remains in the NFL's concussion protocol, meaning Pittsburgh is now forced to turn to Delvin Hodges, the team's third starting QB in the last 4 weeks. Hodges was elevated off the practice squad last week when starting quarterback Ben Roethlisberger was forced to have season-ending surgery. That's everything I've got for you today. So let's get you back over to the news desk.
The large-scale protesting and rioting in Hong Kong has been going on for over 6 months. It continued over the weekend despite the new anti-mask law that went into effect Friday at midnight. The protest, also called the Anti-Extradition Law Amendment Bill, or ELAB movement, is an ongoing series of protests and demonstrations in Hong Kong that begin with the aim of proposing the introduction of the Fugitive Offenders Amendment Bill proposed by the Hong Kong government. The bill would allow local authorities to extradite people to territories they did not previously have extradition agreements with, including Taiwan and mainland China. The new anti-mask law is aimed at stopping the protesters who have taken to wearing face masks while protesting.
A second intelligence official with concerns and more direct first-hand knowledge regarding President Trump's dealing with Ukraine has come forward in the impeachment inquiry of President Trump. The impeachment inquiry by House of Democrats centers on Trump's July phone call with the president of Ukraine when Trump pressed him to investigate the activities of former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. While in Ukraine, Biden is running for the Democratic nomination to oppose Trump in the 2020 election. Trump says he wants to meet with the whistleblower who presented second and third-hand information. In a statement released Monday, Atkinson made clear that the whistleblower was not simply communicating second-hand knowledge. In response, the president took to Twitter claiming Democrat lawyer is the same for both whistleblowers, all support Obama and crooked Hillary. Witch hunt. Trump has openly called on Ukraine and China to investigate the Bidens, asserting on Thursday that he has the absolute right to ask other countries to investigate corruption amid escalating scrutiny over his interactions with foreign leaders.
A 100-year-old woman rocks out to a birthday serenade from The Rock, and the homeless subway soprano meets the cop who changed her life. Coming up in today's Take a Look at This.
Happy birthday to you.
A 100-year-old Philadelphia woman got a birthday surprise from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. A friend of Grandmom Grover shared video of her being serenaded by the action star. Jamie Klingler had tried to reach the actor through his publicist to arrange the surprise, but it was when she tweeted Johnson that he sprang into action, recording the video.
I'm sending you so much love and a huge congratulations on 100 years. Happy birthday, Marie.
Right back, you rock you.
Johnson later tweeted, "Stuff like this is always the best part of fame." By now, you may have seen the video of a homeless woman in California whose beautiful singing voice brought her viral fame. But you may not have seen the moment she met the cop who took the video that made her famous. The LAPD officer had shared video on Twitter of the woman nicknamed the Subway Soprano. Emily Zamorka is a classically trained musician who immigrated from Russia, but an injury and a twist of fate left her unable to perform, and she became homeless. The video led to a GoFundMe campaign for Zamorka that's already raised nearly $60,000. She was recently reunited with the officer who shot the video, and the two shared a tender embrace. Zamorka said the outpouring of support for her has been a miracle. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders returned to his home in Burlington, Vermont, Saturday. Sanders was released from the hospital in Las Vegas Friday after suffering a heart attack last Tuesday. Sanders was taken to the Desert Springs Hospital Medical Center last Tuesday night after experiencing chest discomfort at a campaign event. His campaign and doctors confirmed he had suffered a heart attack. Sanders said Friday he feels great, and after taking short time off, he looks forward to getting back on the campaign trail. Sanders' doctors said they placed 2 stents in a blocked coronary artery and that all other arteries were normal.
We've got our last break coming up, but when we get back, a legendary director has harsh words for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
A Star Trek fans attending Comic-Con in New York get a big announcement, so stay tuned. The Bipsy News will be right back.
150 over 90. 180 over 111.
160 over 110, I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
For many young men, the road to a good education and career begins with a single, simple step: registering with the Selective Service. Registration is required for many college loans, grants, and scholarships, job training programs, and millions of jobs. In many places, you need to register at the time you get your driver's license. Be sure to check. Fortunately, it's easy. You can get help at your school, find a mail-in form at the post office, check the box on the FAFSA form, or register online at sss.gov, where you can also learn more about taking this important step.
You've seen how recent hurricanes have devastated whole communities, flooding and destroying homes. Join Habitat for Humanity as we work with families to repair and rebuild. You can help someone desperately in need of a place to call home. We will rebuild, but only with your help. Visit Habitat.org to support Habitat's work.
Head lice? It's likely your child will be exposed to lice at some point. Don't freak out. A range of pesticide-free treatment and daily prevention solutions is available. If your child gets lice, Vamoose Lice Treatment's easy-to-apply mousse takes care of both lice and eggs. Vamoose kills lice by gut rupture and dehydration. It even kills super lice, which are resistant to pesticides and common OTC treatments. Vamoose kills nits before they hatch, so unlike products requiring a repeat treatment for hatching eggs, Vamoose works in one application.
Legendary director Martin Scorsese says he's not keeping up with the Marvel movies because they are not cinema. Empire magazine, a British publication, asked him if he has seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. The Oscar winner said he tried to, but it's not cinema, and the closest comparison is theme parks. He also said, it isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being. Some of those involved in Marvel movies are pushing back, including Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn. He tweeted, Martin Scorsese is one of my 5 favorite living filmmakers. I was outraged when people picketed The Last Temptation of Christ without having seen the film. I'm saddened that he's now judging my films in the same way. Samuel L. Jackson, who has been in 11 of the Marvel movies, dismissed the comments saying films are films and that not everyone's like Scorsese movies either.
If you're a Star Trek fan, or a Trekkie as they're called, you were probably paying special attention to this year's New York Comic Con. There were multiple panels from the various versions of Star Trek, but the main event featured stars from the up-and-coming original series Star Trek Picard, including Sir Patrick Stewart, who is reprising the role of Captain Jean-Luc Picard for the first time in 17 years. While Stewart may be known to younger fans as Professor Charles Xavier in the X-Men franchise, to an entire generation of sci-fi fans, his portrayal of Captain Picard remains iconic. Beginning in 1987, Stewart played the captain for the entire 7-year, 178-episode run of the Next Generation TV series. He also starred in 4 Star Trek featured films, the last of which was 2002's Nemesis. Fans were treated to a look at the show, which premieres on CBS All Access January 23rd.
When 2 big movie studios couldn't agree on a big deal, a big screen superhero saved the day. David Daniel has that and more in the Hollywood Minute.
That's the disappointing thing, is that you're not Spider-Man in real life, you know? Like, you can't climb walls and you can't shoot webs.
Tom Holland appears to be a real-life superhero. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the Spider-Man star appealed to the chairman of Disney and Sony when a deal to co-produce the next Spidey movie broke down. After Holland reached out, the 2 sides resumed negotiations and reached an agreement. Spidey to the rescue.
The plot begins to thicken. Now, I can't be specific about the heroes and zeros, but our protagonist is a hungry animal. There is a lot of money hanging in the balance.
The first trailer is out for director Guy Ritchie's latest crime drama, The Gentleman, featuring Hugh Grant, Matthew McConaughey, Downton Abbey's Michelle Dockery, and Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians. The murderous schemes, bribery, and blackmail begin January 24th. One of filmdom's most famous axes has gone on the block. The blade Jack Nicholson swung in 1980's The Shining was sold at auction in London for more than $200,000 US, far more than expected. You know what they say about all work and no play.
Here's Johnny.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, we're almost out of time for today.
But before we go, let's check in with Abby Colvin one more time for your out-the-door weather.
I'm Abby Colvin. Now let's take a look at the out-the-door weather. On Monday, there's going to be a thunderstorm with a 70% chance of rain with a high of 74 and a low of 56. Tuesday, there's going to be a high of 79 and a low of 59. And Wednesday, it's partly cloudy with a 5% chance of rain with a high of 83 and a low of 65. This was Abby Colvin. Let's take it back to the news desk.
That's everything we have for you today. I'm Jillian Rogers.
And I'm Shaquille Jefferson. From everyone here at the Bipsy News, thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.